What's going on, everybody? I was just kind of having a thought about my golf simulator. You know what we golf nerds do, and I had a thought: if I used an iPad that was brand new or fairly brand new, that was maxed out, would that make a difference in my iPad playing experience? So let's take a look. What's going on, everybody? Scott Hogan coming at you. We're here in the studio. We're going to talk about the new iPad and if that makes a difference in your experience with the simulator. We'll go through all of that, and we're going to talk about, do I think it's worth it? So before we get to that, make sure you check out our online class. It is registering right now. You can head over to scotthogangolf.com. Going from range warrior to on-course hero, going to be a lot of fun. We've had players using the same system that we're going to be doing. They've already gone from shooting 100, 110 to shooting in the 70s in just the course of a few weeks here in the winter. We're going to be showing you exactly how we did that, so don't miss out on it and get a chance to have your swing looked at and also learn how you're preparing your game for improvement. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk. We're talking Mevo Plus today. We're talking iPad, and this is something that I've done in the past. My first setups when I used my Mevo Plus was using E6 Connect on an iPad, and I was using an iPad Pro, just kind of a first gen, and it was fine. It was a 9.7 inch screen, and it worked okay. But when you got on some of the more graphic intensive courses, things like that, it would get a little choppy. Nothing that was like major, but it was a little choppy. And, you know, then I was able to kind of switch and got to one setup. I have a computer, so for me, it was like, all right, let's just get the computer up and let's go with that. And that's where we currently using the setup. But I know a lot of people want to use the iPad. I get a lot of questions about, you know, hey, if I get an iPad, which one should I get? Will it make a difference? All of those things. So let's talk a little bit about it. I tried it out. Instead of using the old iPad 9.7, which you can go see plenty of videos of me using those. I'll link a couple of them down below and make sure you check those out. But this iPad is an iPad Pro. This is from 2020. This is the 11-inch version. There's a 12.9-inch version. But this is an 11-inch, and this one is maxed out. As much as you can pay on an iPad, this is what this is. So now let's get to this right away. Is it worth it to do this? I would say no. All right. Now, is it better? Yes, it is better than using my other iPad. It's really cool, actually, how good it works. But is it worth it to do it? Absolutely not. The price that you have to pay to get this fully maxed out iPad Pro 11 is way more than you would get for getting a decent gaming computer that's going to run way better anyway. So that's the first thought right off the bat. Now, I'll go into why and what's some of the good and bad. The good, as you're looking at it, let's talk about setting it up and why, you know, iPad is a little bit wonky when you're using it in general. Well, the first thing is aspect ratio. Aspect ratio on iPads is 4:3. Most computers, most TVs, you know, a lot of projectors nowadays are going to display at 16:9 aspect ratio. This video that you're watching right now, I export this in 16:9, which is more of a widescreen format. That's very common nowadays. So 4:3 isn't as widely seen. Now, with that said, I have a screen that is actually pretty good for a 4:3 ratio. I actually have my settings kind of jacked up. I do have everything at a 16:9 setting, but I kind of do some zooming with my projector and I get it to where that screen gets filled pretty well how I like it. But it's something that you have to pay attention to. If you're going to go with an iPad setup, I would look to get a screen with that proper aspect ratio because that's what you're going to get. Now, to get this one to look pretty good, what I did was I actually changed the settings on my projector. I got it to a 4:3 ratio, which I can do on my projector. Check your projector out, make sure you can do it. And then I did zoom in a little bit to get it to fill more of the screen. Now, when I do start zooming in, I am going to start cutting off some data. So I didn't cut off anything on the screen, but I was losing some of the yardage stuff and all that at the top. So I could easily go look at the iPad screen to see it, but if you're not looking for that, then I'm going to have to zoom out, not fill up as much of the screen, and that might be something that you're not looking for. So can you actually get a really good picture? You could, but you got to, again, get the settings right, matching that 4:3, and then doing that and going from there. So that's the first thing. Now, how does it run? On E6, it really looks a little bit better. The graphics are not as good or as detailed as when you have it on a computer. When you see the computer rounds, you're gonna see just some more detail in like the grass, you're gonna see some more detail in the sky, things like that. So you're just losing a little bit on the graphics. If that's something that you really like, you're still not gonna get that by getting a really nice iPad that you do. So I really liked having it. I pair it, I do have a Magic Keyboard with mine, which way too expensive again for that, but I have that for mine, and it was really nice setup, kind of having that touchscreen feel, and it's big enough and all of that. So I had that sitting right behind on my little bench, and it was kind of nice for that. But again, I have a touchscreen on my computer too, so for me, I wouldn't do it. If you were looking for that feel, might be a nice thing to think about as you're going through for that iPad setup. But from there, gameplay-wise, I actually noticed it was a little bit faster and smoother on the animations than when I had my previous iPad Pro, the version 1. The animations, everything was a little bit smoother. Now I did notice there would be some delays with, hey, we're going from hitting a shot to seeing the iPad display the shot. It was taking maybe a second or two to get that to go. That doesn't really happen too much. Now, I've noticed it once in a while on my computer right now, but we are in some crazy weather. We've had internet issues in the building and stuff, so I don't know if that's going on, if there's interference or anything that's particular to the weather here, but that's just been of late when all that weather started happening, stuff that I've noticed. So it's worked really, really well. And then we took it over into the FS Golf app. You can see here we got the range really in a nice big picture. It works really, really smooth with the FS Golf app. Get all your data. You can see the data getting cut off a little bit because I did that zoom again, so I'd have to zoom it out a little bit. But to be honest, that was a really, really nice thing. It was running really smooth, really nice picture with that unit. So that's something I really enjoyed, and I thought it was really, really excellent at that. And then I could also use this iPad, if I'm using the Magic Keyboard setup, I could actually use the camera on the iPad if I'd like, instead of having to use the one in the Mevo Plus. So there is a little bit of a plus to doing that when you have it connected to that device as you're using FS Golf. So if you're looking for a good setup where you have to use FS Golf, you have to use the iPad or your phone anyway, it's nice for that. But again, the downside is these devices, they run upwards of $2,000 for that device. Me, I use it for a multitude of things. Would I just get this and use it to play sim golf? Absolutely not. I could go get a computer that is solely for that. I could build a computer, which if you're interested in knowing how I did that, I built a computer that can edit 4K video. It can do all these things. It could easily run a golf simulator, and it's extremely fast. It's way overkill for what you would need on a golf simulator, and I can build that under $1,000, and it would be better than what you have here in the iPad. It does more things. And if you're interested in knowing how I did that, leave a comment down below. But you can do that in about 45 minutes once you have all the parts. And I'm somebody that I don't even know how to build a computer when I started out. I'd never done it. So I would say you're better off going that route. Plus, if you're familiar with Apple, things get out of date relatively quickly. So you usually have to upgrade your devices. Again, I use this for a multitude of things within my business, teaching, coaching, doing videos. I can edit videos on it, all those things, sending emails. I basically use this as a laptop as well. So it's one of those things you have to kind of look and see. Maybe if I had it as something I was using on the other end of doing things, then it could work really well as my simulator, iPad, things like that. But I would not buy it solely for that reason, because it's just way too expensive for what you're actually getting and what you need it for if that's what you're trying to do, just have a simulator computer. So yes, does it work better? I thought so. Worked pretty cool. It was nice. I'm not going to use that anytime soon because, again, I have the computer set up, but something to think about. Again, if you're kind of in between, maybe you're somebody that's looking to get a device for, again, other things. You're like, hey, maybe I can get one that I can use for the sim as well. That would be something I would consider as well. So this was the 11-inch. That got it to fill the screen. That does make a little difference on how it projects. And then what you saw there was it was projected up to an Apple TV with ScreenPlay. So again, you need something to get it connected to the device. So I did Apple TV, which I already had, and then we just screen mirrored it up there. So it's a clean setup. I like when we do it that way, but again, just gonna have a couple of downfalls that I don't really need to deal with because I have some other options. So let me know if you have any questions about it, anything I might have missed in this video, but had some people asking about what types of iPads work better. If I get a newer one, does it work better? Or is it just gonna be the same? So wanted to test it out and see what we got, and that's it. So any questions, leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and leave a thumbs up. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.